Hello everyone, I'm Miss Melody from the Ludington Library Junior Room, and today we're going to go on a little adventure because I'm going to take you geocaching. Geocaching is one of my favorite ways to get out and explore because it's basically a giant scavenger hunt that's happening all the time, all over the world, including here in Lower Merion. When you're geocaching, it's kind of like treasure hunting because you're on the lookout for some very specific caches. Caches can be hidden anywhere. They can be hidden in train stations, in parks, in the woods, but all of them are going to be hidden in public land, which means a spot that anyone can go to. It's not going to be in someone's backyard that you can't get to. And every single one of them is hidden at a very specific GPS location, so longitude and latitude. And the way that you're going to be able to find them is by using the GPS on your phone. Maybe you have a phone, or maybe your mom or dad or an older brother or sister has one, and you can do this together. Geocaches can all look different. They're all going to be watertight containers, so the stuff on the inside doesn't get ruined, but they can come in all shapes and sizes. All geocaches are going to have a few things inside of them though. And the first thing they're going to have, no matter how big or small they are, is a logbook. A logbook is going to be somewhere where you can write the date that you found the cache and your name, as well as maybe some information about the day and how you found it and whether you enjoyed finding it or not. Most caches are also going to have a pen in them. The very small caches, the micros and the minis, are usually not going to be big enough for a pen, so whenever I go geocaching, I like to bring one along with me just in case, because sometimes the ones in the caches get dried out or there isn't one in there, and I always like to be able to sign the log. The larger caches are also going to have treasure inside them. Now this treasure is not going to be very big or very fancy or very expensive, but it is going to be some stuff you might want to collect. When you go to a cache that has treasure in it, you're able to take one of the treasures and then also put one in that you brought along with you. Things you can put in are little Lego guys or cars that you've played with, little plastic toys. If you're someone who likes to make friendship bracelets or you like to do rainbow loom, those are great things to put in caches as well. But how are you going to find these caches? Well, as I said earlier, you're going to be using an app on your phone. There are also some websites that tell you how to find caches, but if you're just starting out, I think the easiest way is just to have it all on your phone, all accessible. So the cache that I use is just called geocaching, and I'm going to show you how to use it today, and then we're going to go out and see if we can find a cache, hopefully. So if you go on your phone to the App Store, or mom and dad, if you have mom and dad with you, they're going to want to do that. You're going to go to the App Store and just click on it, and then at the bottom where you can search, you're going to type in geocaching. And the one that I use is one of the very first ones to come up. It's that one with the little green symbol on the left-hand side. And if you don't have it on your phone, I already do, so I can't really show you this part, but you're going to want to download it, so click on it to download it, and then you're going to want to make a username and a password so that you can continue using this app over time. After it's downloaded and you've made a username and a password, you're going to want to open it up. So I can open it up right here by pressing open, or I can go back to my home screen and click on that symbol, the geocaching symbol, and I'll be able to open it up. When I first open up the app, it is going to go to where I am. So if you look on the screen, you can see it says Bryn Mawr, because I am at Ludington Library, which is in Bryn Mawr. So it's going to show me the caches that are around me right now. One really great thing about this app is that it is free. One of the downsides of this app is there's a premium level, so not all of the caches are going to be things that I can see unless I decide to pay for the premium. I like this app, and I think there's enough caches that I can get for free that I've never bothered to do the premium. However, if you get really into geocaching, you want to find some of the harder caches, those are going to be things that you might want to subscribe to the premium level to get. So if I look where I am in Bryn Mawr, you can see there's a few caches around me. There's the green one is one that I can find out information about, and the gray ones are one that I would need to pay for a premium subscription to get. If I zoom out a little bit, you can see there are even more in this area. There's some in Ardmore. If you're someone that likes to go to the Belmont Hills Library, there's actually one that's right close to the Belmont Hills Library. I believe it's in the park right next to the library, so that might be a good one for you to try out. And if I zoom out even more, you can see there's a bunch of green on the right-hand side, and that is a lot of caches that are very close together. All of those caches are on the Schuylkill River Trail. So if you or your family really like to go to the Schuylkill River Trail already, maybe you bike there or you hike there or walk around, that might be a great spot for you to start geocaching. Some place that you're already going to, and you can just find some geocaches there. The ones that are in that area are going to be right off the trail, so pretty easy to find. If I wanted to find some geocaches that were not where I am right now, maybe I'm traveling to another state or another part of our state, I can also look up and see where there might be geocaches where I'm traveling. So I want to find some that are where I am now. So I'm going to go back to Bryn Mawr, and I'm going to zoom out a little bit, and I want to find one that's pretty close to where I am. So I'm going to click on this green one right there, and when I click on it, a little information about it is going to come up on the bottom. It shows me how far away it is from me. It also is going to tell me the level of difficulty, both for where the cache is hidden and for the terrain. So it's a level 1 in how it's hidden, which means it's going to be pretty easy to find, and the terrain says it's a number 2. The scale goes from 1 to 5, so a 5 would be like climbing up a mountain, a 1 would be like just walking down the street. So this is probably going to be on a trail where I might have to go off the trail, but it's not going to be very difficult. It also tells me the size of the cache. This is going to be a regular size cache, which is one that I think I'd like to check out because it's probably going to have more stuff inside of it, whereas like micros and minis, not much fits inside of this because they're very small. So I'm going to click on this, and it's going to show me a little bit more information about this cache before I go there. At the top here, you can see it says navigate. When I'm ready to head to the cache, that's what I'm going to want to click on because it's going to show me how to get there. I'm not ready for that yet though, because I want to find out a little bit more information about it. So the first thing I see here is the same information that I learned earlier, which is how the level of difficulty, which is how far away it is from me, and how large the cache is. Then underneath it has a description, and I'm going to want to click on that. It's going to tell me about this specific cache. And it says that it is hidden in Saunders Woods, so I think that that's like a park or maybe a hiking trail, so that's good information for me to know. And that this specific cache is an ammo box. So ammo boxes are pretty good size. It's going to tell me it's a fairly large cache. It told me it was a normal size, but that even just gives me a little better idea. And then it tells me a little bit of the history of this particular cache. And at the bottom, I love that this description has one of those kind of geocaching terms, which is muggles in it. So if you read Harry Potter, like I love Harry Potter, the word muggle is used to describe non-magical people, non-wizards. And in geocaching, it kind of means the same thing. If you read something about muggles in geocaching, it's someone that's not looking for the geocache that happens to find it, a non-geocacher. So you might see that term come up in other places. So another thing that I also want to look at before I go is some of the attributes. So I can check on that, and this just gives me a list of some different things that I might want to know about the cache. I also want to check the waypoints before I head out. Not all geocaches have waypoints, but if they do have waypoints, those waypoints are usually going to be the best place to park near that geocache. If I click on there, yes, it says there's the Saunders Wood parking lot. So that's actually where I'm going to want to travel to first before I start walking to the cache. So you'll notice next to it there's that little arrow that you saw next to navigation on the earlier screen, and this is going to help me navigate to the parking lot. So if I click on that, what it's showing me is the most direct route to get there. It's just a straight route to get to the parking lot. That's not how I'm going to get there, because I'm not going to be walking through other people's yards. That is probably not going to be actually the fastest way to get there. I'm going to be driving there. So since I'm going to be driving there, there's another thing that I want to use to help navigate, and that's up at the top of the screen. It's the car. So I'm going to click on that, and when I click on that, it's going to pull up the driving directions to the parking lot. So that's going to be the best way and the safest way for me to get there instead of just trying to walk or drive, which wouldn't make sense, in a straight line from here to there. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to follow those directions. I'm going to jump in my car and start driving over there, and we'll see if we can find this cache. So I made it to the Saunders Woods parking lot. The sign is a little bit small, just so if you happen to come to this geocache, be aware of that. I almost missed it. And now that I'm here, I'm going to want to change my navigation from this waypoint, from the parking lot, to the actual cache. So I'm going to go in there, and you'll notice it says Silly Bands right underneath the parking lot, and I'm going to click on the little arrow to navigate from there. And when it pops up, I can see that it's actually really close. So it's only 1/10 of a mile away, and it looks like it's going to be in that direction, looks like from my map here. But I did notice in the description that it said it should be right off the trail. So I'm probably going to want to take a trail to get there. I don't want to just like bushwhack right through. And it should be pretty close, so it shouldn't take me very long to get there. Sorry, it's really windy up here. And it looks like the trail I want to follow is right down that way. And yeah, I can see up there, if I cross this little driveway, it looks like there is another trail. And that looks like the one that I'm going to want to go to. It looks like that's where the little arrow's pointing, so that's what we're going to do. And here we come to a little fork in the road. So I noticed there's a trail going that way and a trail going this way. And it seems pretty clear from the GPS that we want to head in that direction. So we're going to keep following that trail. So it looks like we've come to another fork in the road. There's one going this direction, one going that direction. And it looks like from where my arrow is pointing, we're gonna wanna try that way around the logs. We are getting super, super close to where the geocache is. So I'm thinking we are probably gonna have to get off the trail pretty soon, and the app should let me know. It's been consistently going downward in the amount of feet that we're away from it. If it starts going up, that means we've probably gone too far and it's time to get off the trail. And I think we're getting to that point pretty soon. It looks like the cache should be up that way. And I think we've gotten to that point because if I go forward, it's showing that I'm further away from the cache. And if I go backward, it's also starting to show that I'm farther away from the cache. So I think we're gonna have to get off the trail. We're gonna have to head up that way. And we're gonna want to keep watching that GPS to let us know when we're close. All right, so I am now super close to the cache. And one thing that can be a little bit difficult about geocaching is I found that when I get about 15 feet away from a cache, the satellites are not helping me very much. They kind of start to bounce around, and even if I'm standing just in one spot, sometimes the distance away from the cache will change. So once I get within like 15 feet, I know it's in the general area that I'm standing in, and I'm gonna start looking around. So I'm actually gonna turn off the video now because if you are coming to this geocache, I want you to be able to find it. I don't wanna reveal exactly where it is, and then you'll lose the chance to find it. So I'm gonna go see if I can find it. I'm gonna pull it out and see what's inside. So after looking around a little bit, I was able to find the cache, and this one is really cool because it actually says official geocache on it, which is not something that all of them say. So I want to open it up and see what's in here. Oh man, it's a lot. Okay, so we do have a logbook, which is great. I want to make sure that I sign that before I put it back. And wow, there's also a ton of silly bands, as I thought there might be from the name. There are some wallets. There are some little Lego figures. There's some coins. More silly bands there. There's also some Pokemon cards down here. There's a little thing of Play-Doh. So what I had planned to put in here was a bracelet with beads on it, but when I went to take it out of my pocket, it all fell apart. So what I'm gonna put in here instead is the little box. And I think that I'm gonna take a few of the silly bands. Seems appropriate, right? Okay. So before I go, I'm going to make sure that I sign the logbook, but I'm also going to want to log this on my app. So the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to press the little arrow at the top that's going to get me out of the navigation and back to the information about the cache. And there's a little button there that says log. So I'm going to press log, and it's going to give me a few options. Found it, did not find it, or you want to write a little note. Well, I did find it, so I'm going to press found it. And it's going to pop up a little area so that I can write something about it. And I'm going to use a little little geocaching lingo, which is TFTC, which is thanks for the cache. And a little exclamation point. And then I'm just going to post that on there. And that is going to log for me that I found that cache. And it's also going to let other people know that someone has recently found that cache. And it's going to go into the messages to see how many people have found this cache. So After I sign the logbook, I'm also going to go close this up and put it back where I found it, which is what you should do if you ever find a geocache. You want to return it to where it goes. Thank you for watching this video with me today. I hope that you were able to get out and do some geocaching as well. If you do, please leave us a comment below and let us know where you visited and if you found anything really neat. Keep tuning into our Facebook, where it's going to be a lot of videos and a lot of story times. See you later.